or known. Backgrounds, literary accreditation, or inspiration as the true authors of the plays. Much of this stemmed from the sketchy details of Shakespeare's life and the dearth of contemporary primary sources. Official records from the Holy Trinity Church and the Stratford government record the existence of Shakespeare. But none of these attest to him being an actor or playwright. Skeptics also questioned how anyone of such modest education could write with the intellectual perceptiveness and poetic power that is displayed in Shakespeare's works. Over the centuries, several groups have emerged that question the authorship of Shakespeare's plays. The most serious and intense skepticism began in the 19th century when adoration for Shakespeare was at its highest. The detractors believed that the only hard evidence surrounding Shakespeare from Stratford-upon-Avon described a man from modest beginnings who married young and became successful in real estate. Members of the Shakespeare Oxford Society, founded in 1957, put forth arguments that English aristocrat and poet Edward de Vere, the 17th Earl of Oxford, was the true author of the poems and plays of William Shakespeare. The Oxfordians cite de Vere's extensive knowledge of aristocratic society, his education, and the structural similarities between his poetry and that found in the works attributed to Shakespeare. They contend that Shakespeare had neither the education nor the literary training to write such eloquent prose and create such rich characters. However, the vast majority of Shakespearean scholars contend that Shakespeare wrote all his own plays. They point out that other playwrights of the time also had sketchy histories and came from modest backgrounds. They contend that King's New School in Stratford had a curriculum of Latin and the classics could have provided a good foundation for literary writers. Supporters of Shakespeare's authorship argue that the lack of evidence about Shakespeare's life doesn't mean his life didn't exist. They point to evidence that displays his name on the title pages of published poems and plays. Examples exist of authors and critics of the time acknowledging Shakespeare as the author of plays such as The Two Gentlemen of Verona, The Comedy of Errors, and King John. Royal records from 1601 show that Shakespeare was recognized as a member of the King's Men Theatre Company and a groom of the chamber by the court of King James I, where the company performed 7 of Shakespeare's plays. There is also strong circumstantial evidence of personal relationships by contemporaries who interacted with Shakespeare as an actor and a playwright. Literary legacy. What seems to be true is that Shakespeare was a respected man of the dramatic arts, who wrote plays and acted in the late 16th and early 17th centuries. But his reputation as a dramatic genius wasn't recognized until the 19th century, beginning with the Romantic period of the early 1800s and continuing through the Victorian period. Acclaim and reverence for Shakespeare and his work reached its height in the 20th century. New movements in scholarship and performance rediscovered and adopted his works. Today, his plays remain highly popular and are constantly studied and reinterpreted in performances with diverse cultural and political contexts. The genius of Shakespeare's characters and plots are that they present real human beings in a wide range of emotions and conflicts that transcend their origins in Elizabethan England. Quotes: "The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Cowards die many times before their deaths, the valiant never taste of death. But once. Lord, what fools these mortals be. To weep is to make less the depth of grief. In time we hate that which we often fear. Men at some time are masters of their fates, the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. What's done cannot be undone. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go. The first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. I say there is no darkness but ignorance. I wasted time, and now doth time waste me. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness. Thrust upon them,